With iconic performances in Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, Cape Fear, The Godfather Part 2 and many, many more, celebrated as one of the greatest actors of all time and admired by countless pioneering peers, just to be able to share the screen with a legend like Robert De Niro must not only be a dream come true, but a truly career-defining moment for any young aspiring actor. Therefore, when Zac Efron signed his name to appear next to De Niro in a buddy road trip movie, he too probably had visions of Heat-inspired dialogue sequences for the ages. Unfortunately for him, instead, he got this.
You know what I'd rather do? What? I'd rather let Queen Latifah shit in my mouth from a fucking hot air balloon.
At the mere mention of Zac Efron's name, titles of films like Baywatch, Neighbours and Dirty Grandpa are undoubtedly going to cloud your mind. Quickly made mainstream comedy films that, although might not be met with high critical praise, make an absolute killing at the box office. Those three previously mentioned films have a combined worldwide gross of over $500 million. So it's safe to say that Zac Efron can absolutely sell a film when surrounded with the likes of proven powerhouses Dwayne Johnson, Seth Rogen and Robert De Niro at his side. But on deeper inspection, the question is, could there be more for Zac Efron than just quick cash, quick laughs and forgettable comedy film roles? I'm Tom from Screen On Point and I'm asking, is Zac Efron the most misjudged actor in Hollywood? Way back before Dwayne Johnson was surviving jumping off skyscrapers, clubbing soldiers to death and having a good old laugh about it, the success of a 1950s Hollywood hit was determined on the all-singing and all-dancing thrills of movies like Moulin Rouge, The Greatest Show on Earth and arguably one of the greatest musicals of all time, Singing in the Rain starring Gene Kelly. With an Academy Award nomination for his role in Anchors Away in 1945, alongside the likes of Bing Crosby and Gregory Peck, Kelly's success as an actor extended past his energetic dancing style, good looks and likability. He was a hybrid of performing arts, acting, singing and dancing into Hollywood history books, receiving several Lifetime Achievement Awards for his work. As time and cinema progressed, however, and as audiences were adjusting to darker, grittier films like Alfred Hitchcock's 1960s plethora of horror and Francis Ford Coppola's 1970s depictions of inner city crime, the only characters that were exploding into spontaneous song were from Disney's collection of flipbooks. That was until the re-emergence of live-action musicals in the early 2000s, thanks to the reimagining by Baz Luhrmann and the critical success of 2001's Moulin Rouge, with hand-drawn animation being left in the dust by non-musical CGI titans like Toy Story, Finding Nemo and Up. Disney transitioned their musical merits to the small screen to capitalise on the success of the Paris Hilton phenomenon, with squeaky clean family versions in The Cheetah Girls, Stuck in the Suburbs, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, which ultimately led to their magnum opus of teen-driven musical love, High School Musical. Alongside Miley Cyrus as Hannah Montana, High School Musical was released in 2006 exclusively to the Disney Channel, made up mostly of unknown actors, and to Disney's own surprise, absolutely exploded into popular culture, with the movie soundtrack crashing to the top of the Billboard charts, going platinum as it did. At the centre of all of this was the 19-year-old Californian-born Zac Efron. Romeo and Juliet reimagined in a school setting, High School Musical was far, far from Shakespeare, but arguably what it did do was give audiences a glimpse of the success Efron might be capable of. A hybrid performer had returned, a new Gene Kelly for a new generation. Hand in hand with the popularity of the Jonas Brothers, Disney had catapulted Efron into an ocean of teenage female fantasies, and with Efron's marketability lying mostly on his looks, he booked a string of films like Hairspray, 17 Again and Charlie St. Cloud to run alongside the High School Musical trilogy. Being typecast has always been the curse of success in film for an actor, and like Efron, after his appearance in Harry Potter as Cedric Diggory and monumental success in the Twilight series, Robert Pattinson found himself edging towards a similar trajectory with mainstream roles in romance films like Remember Me and Love and Distrust to run alongside Twilight. But during this time, however, while adored by the intended demographic, the Twilight series, especially Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2, were met with a disastrous critical reception, highlighted by Michael Phillips from the Chicago Tribune describing Pattinson's Efron's performance as passing another micro slab of dialogue like a kidney stone. Along with his own disliking of the films, Patterson began purposely distancing himself from the genre, actively looking to work with exciting creatives and booking himself in low-budget films like The Rover, Good Time and High Life to shed the glistening vampire skin and wooden reputation that Twilight had left him with. Unlike Patterson, by the third and final High School Musical film, Efron began to deter from his demographic, trying his hand at period dramas like Me and Orson Welles, directed by auteur Richard Linklater. And whilst being met with positive reviews, Christian McKay as Orson Welles stole the spotlight, and it wouldn't actually be until 2012, 4 years later, that Efron tried and break perceptions again when he took the lead role in The Paperboy opposite Matthew McConaughey, Nicole Kidman, John Cusack and David Oyelowo. Surrounded by a heavy-hitting ensemble cast and a director that was able to harness Efron's potential, The Paperboy, though critically labelled as a tonal mess, it demonstrated that Efron, when placed in the right environment, could thrive against the best. This was highlighted in the pockets of scenes like the back and forth over-the-shoulder shots of Kidman and Efron in the car outside the prison. The limited car interior, simple shots and pacing put all the emphasis on the performance, and Efron's portrayal of Jack as the sexually confused expelled college student tugs at a subtleness that arguably Efron didn't get the chance to explore in his career until this point.
I lost my temper. Well, I emptied the pool.
At your college?
They call that vandalism, I guess.
Another actor that has had an eerily similar trajectory as this is Ryan Gosling. Before he was giving subtle naturalistic performances in critically adored films like Half Nelson, Blue Valentine and Drive, Gosling was sharing the screen as a child actor alongside Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera on the Disney Channel's The Mickey Mouse Club. But it wasn't until 2004, with The Notebook, adapted from Nicholas Sparks' novel of the same name, that Gosling began picking up roles as a leading man. With the film gaining a cult following, Gosling didn't hesitate in showing diversity with performance in drastic departures from this romance genre. His calm yet violent performance in the 2011 film Drive is not too dissimilar to that of Efron's in The Paperboy, with similar moments of madness amongst a sea of calm. Efron followed The Paperboy with Parkland as Dr. Charles Carrico in a recounting of the events that occurred at Dallas Parkland Hospital on the day that John F. Kennedy was shot. Alongside another great ensemble cast, and despite a praised performance, the film was a commercial and critical flop. And with two good performances but critical flops in The Paperboy and Parkland, Efron, in need of a hit and arguably convinced by his management, was back to commercial mainstream with comedy films Neighbours, Dirty Grandpa and That Awkward Moment, a film that he was nominated for at the MTV Movie Awards for the Best Shirtless Performance. And after the financial success of these films, Efron reunited in Neighbours 2, Baywatch and The Greatest Showman, further leaning away from the route that both Patterson and Gosling were having tremendous success in. That was until he was cast as Ted Bundy in the biopic of his life, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, in 2019. With somewhat of a resemblance that most news media were hooked on, the casting of Efron as Bundy was a masterful one, especially with the acting ability that he had demonstrated in Bloody Moments of Chaos in The Paperboy. Sadly for Efron, however, despite a terrific performance, the film, in an attempt to show the gentler side of Bundy that fooled everyone, never dared to cross a boundary that allowed Efron to dip his toes into the reality of Bundy's visceral and horrifying nature. Summed up by Tom Beasley from Flickering Myth, Extremely Wicked is a movie that's fascinated with Ted Bundy and entirely uninterested in those lives that he callously took away. By taking away the brutality, the film took away the reality of what Bundy was. What was Drive without the driver's brutal elevator scene? What was The Rover without Reynolds' climactic moment with his brother? Where survival for a once heralded Disney star seems to lie in the extreme for some, Vanessa Hudgens and Selena Gomez at Spring Break, or Zac Efron ultimately joining them with his grandpa, star, it's hard to dismiss that if given the chance, if working with the right people, that there could be more for Zac Efron than posing with his shirt off both on and off screen. Where Shia LaBeouf has found his calling in low budget passion projects away from the mainstream, where great comedians like Robin Williams found an outlet for his inner torment, where past action stars have come to lay their sword and shield, there is a lot more time for Efron to find and explore those glimpses of greatness. Where Gosling thrives with characters that Efron could also run with, films like La La Land, where Pattinson has landed roles that seem completely out of his reach with his casting as the new Batman, Efron arguably needs to return to risks, and if it's anything like we got to see in The Paperboy, I wouldn't be surprised to see this guy who did this maybe one day go home with more than just an MTV Movie Award.
Thanks for watching that video. Please do like and subscribe. We upload 2 tasty and tenderized videos a week to sink your teeth into, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to follow us at Screen On Point and Tom A. Ransom on Twitter to satisfy my narcissistic need for acceptance and love, and you make sure you have a wonderful day.